In December of 1273, one of the greatest intellectuals of the Catholic Church experienced an event that would change everything. After a mystical vision during Mass, he declared that all his work, tens of thousands of pages of brilliant philosophy and theology, was nothing but straw. What could have happened to make this medieval genius abandon his unfinished masterpiece? This is the extraordinary story of Saint Thomas Aquinas, the noble boy who defied his family to become a humble friar, the ridiculed student who revolutionized Western thought, and the brilliant theologian who, in the end, discovered truths beyond human reason. Chapter 1. Childhood and Education. In an era of medieval castles and intense power struggles, a child was born in 1225 in southern Italy, destined to forever change Western thought. Thomas, the son of the Counts of Aquino, grew up amid the luxury and privileges of nobility, but his mind was set on something far beyond earthly riches. At the age of 5, a defining moment set the course of his destiny. During a violent storm, lightning struck the castle, killing his younger sister as she slept beside him. Miraculously, young Thomas survived, and from then on, he carried a relic of Saint Agnes as a protective charm. At the Abbey of Monte Cassino, where he began his studies, Thomas astonished the monks with a profound and unexpected question: who is God? This early curiosity already signaled the brilliant mind that would revolutionize medieval theology. The monks soon realized there was something extraordinary about the young noble. While other boys his age were drawn to tournaments and hunts, Thomas devoured sacred and philosophical texts from the monastery's library with remarkable understanding. At the University of Naples, he encountered the works of Aristotle, for the first time controversial at the time for their perceived threat to Christian faith. Yet Thomas saw in Aristotle not a danger, but an opportunity to bridge reason and faith. His family dreamed of him becoming the abbot of Monte Cassino, a position of great prestige and power. But destiny and Thomas's unwavering determination had other plans that would transform not just his life, but the entirety of medieval Christian thought. Chapter 2. Decision and Family Conflicts. Against all his noble family's expectations, Thomas chose to join the Dominican order, a mendicant order considered inferior to the prestigious Benedictines. This decision triggered a dramatic chain of events that tested his faith and resolve to their limits. Following orders from his mother, Countess Theodora, Thomas's brothers organized a full-scale military operation. While Thomas was traveling to Paris, he was ambushed and kidnapped by his own family, who imprisoned him in the castle of Monte San Giovanni for over a year. During his captivity, his brothers tried everything to dissuade him. They even went so far as to hire a courtesan to seduce him, believing it would derail his religious vocation. According to accounts from the time, Thomas drove the woman away with a flaming brand and then used it to draw a cross on the wall. A lesser-known aspect of this period is the role of his elder sister, who secretly aided him. She not only smuggled him food and books, but also orchestrated his escape through a window using a rope made of sheets, an adventure worthy of a medieval tale. Rather than weakening his faith, this experience only strengthened his conviction. During his confinement, Thomas memorized much of the Bible and several philosophical texts, transforming his imprisonment into a period of intense spiritual and intellectual preparation. Once free, Thomas was ready to begin his true intellectual journey. Yet an even greater challenge awaited him. How could a man known for his silence and introspection revolutionize medieval thought? The answer would come through his unusual nickname and a teacher who would forever change his life. Chapter 3. The Nickname and Recognition. At the University of Paris, Thomas quickly stood out not for his eloquence, but for his intriguing silence. His classmates, unable to understand his contemplative nature, began to call him the Dom Max, a nickname that ironically would become one of the most famous in the history of the Church. It was during this time that Saint Albert the Great, one of the era's greatest intellectuals, entered Thomas's life. While others mocked Thomas's quiet demeanor, Albert saw extraordinary potential in him. "You call him the dumb ox," Albert told the other students, "but one day his teachings will be heard throughout the world." Thomas's handwriting was so illegible that it earned the nickname Littera Inintelligibilis, the unintelligible script. Yet, this apparent flaw concealed a remarkable gift. Thomas could dictate to up to 4 secretaries simultaneously on different topics, demonstrating a mental capacity that amazed everyone. In one memorable incident, during a lecture by Albert the Great, Thomas astounded everyone by solving a complex theological problem that had baffled his peers. His teacher, awestruck, declared, "We call him the dumb ox, but his bellow will one day echo throughout the church." Gradually, the dumb ox began to find his voice. His first public lecture was so successful that students had to gather in the university courtyard, as no classroom was large enough to accommodate all who wanted to hear him. As his reputation grew, a new challenge arose: how to reconcile the pagan philosophy of Aristotle, which he greatly admired, with the truths of Christian faith. This question would lead to his greatest contribution to Western thought, a revolutionary synthesis that would forever change how we understand the relationship between faith and reason. Chapter 4: The Philosophy of Saint Thomas. In an era when the Church viewed the works of Aristotle with suspicion, Thomas dared to do something revolutionary: demonstrate that human reason and divine faith were not adversaries, but two wings that could elevate humanity toward truth. In his study at the University of Paris, surrounded by newly translated Greek and Arabic manuscripts, Thomas worked tirelessly on his masterpiece, the Summa Theologica. This ambitious project was seen by many as impossible: to build a bridge between Aristotelian philosophy and Christian doctrine. With unparalleled clarity, Thomas developed the famous 5 ways to prove God's existence through reason. The most well-known, the unmoved mover, argued that all change in the universe must have a first cause, an idea that continues to intrigue philosophers and scientists to this day. Thomas's brilliant mind operated in a unique way. It is said that he could engage in discussions on multiple topics simultaneously, which greatly facilitated the dissemination of his knowledge. This extraordinary ability allowed him to produce over 40 monumental works in less than 30 years. To make knowledge more accessible, Thomas developed a revolutionary teaching method. Before presenting his own ideas, he would always first lay out opposing arguments with complete intellectual honesty, a practice that forever transformed academic debate. The influence of his thought spread rapidly across medieval Europe. Students traveled hundreds of miles to attend his lectures, and his works were copied and distributed throughout Christendom. But at the height of his academic success, something extraordinary happened during Mass, an event that would completely change his perspective on all the knowledge he had accumulated. Chapter 5: Final Years and Revelation. On December 6, 1273, during Mass in the chapel of St. Nicholas in Naples, something extraordinary occurred. Thomas Aquinas, at the peak of his intellectual career, experienced a mystical event so profound that it left him silent for hours. When his friend and secretary Reginald found him still in a state of shock, Thomas spoke words that would echo through history. "All that I have written seems to me like straw, compared to what I have seen the great master, who had devoted his life to explaining divine mysteries through reason, had experienced something beyond rational explanation." Thomas's experience is often described as a vision of Christ, in which he felt a deep communion with divine truth. According to accounts, a voice from the crucifix asked him, "Thomas, you have written well of me. What reward would you have for your work?" Thomas's response was simple and profound: "Nothing but you, Lord." This reply expressed his ultimate devotion to God, showing that his mystical encounter transcended any intellectual or written accomplishment. After this event, Thomas abandoned his unfinished masterpiece, the Summa Theologica. When Reginald urged him to continue, he replied simply, "I can write no more. What I have seen makes all that I have written impossible to complete." His decision shocked the medieval academic world. A few months later, While traveling to the Council of Lyon at Pope Gregory X's request, Thomas struck his head on a tree branch during the journey. The accident worsened his already fragile health, forcing him to take refuge at the Cistercian Abbey of Fossa Nova. On his deathbed, Thomas gave a final testament to his devotion. When the Eucharist was brought to him, he proclaimed, "I receive you, price of my soul's redemption, viaticum of my pilgrimage, for whose love I have studied, kept vigil, and worked on March 7, 1274, at the age of 49. The Dhamaks was silenced forever." But his final act of humility, acknowledging that all human knowledge is limited before divine mysteries, may have been his greatest legacy. It leaves us to ponder, how could the greatest theologian of the Catholic Church come to regard his work as straw? The answer may lie in his canonization process and the unique title he would later receive. Chapter 6. Legacy and Title of Doctor of the Church. News of Thomas's death spread quickly across medieval Europe, and extraordinary events began to unfold. Reports of miracles attributed to his intercession emerged, particularly among students seeking his help to understand complex theological and philosophical questions. In an unusually swift canonization process for the time, Thomas was declared a saint on July 18, 1323, less than 50 years after his death. Pope John XXII, who oversaw the process, declared that every article written by Thomas was a miracle in itself. His influence continued to grow over the centuries. In 1567, Pope Pius V granted him the title of Doctor of the Church, an honor reserved for the greatest theologians in Christian history. More significantly, Thomas was given the epithet Doctor Angelicus, the angelic doctor, a recognition of his unique ability to elevate human thought toward divine truths. Medieval universities began requiring professors to swear to teach in accordance with Thomas's principles. His works became so central that during the Council of Trent, the Summa Theologica was placed on the altar alongside the Bible, an honor of unparalleled significance. For those who wish to dive deeper into the lives of extraordinary saints like Thomas, we recommend our ebook, 50 Saints, Stories and Prayers for Divine Intervention, available in our store. It offers not only the inspiring lives of various saints, but also powerful prayers associated with them. Curiously, Thomas's legacy remains vibrant even today. His ideas about the harmony between faith and reason have influenced modern thinkers, scientists, and the Church's approach to the dialogue between science and religion. Perhaps his greatest legacy is the reminder that no matter how much we study and understand, there will always be mysteries beyond our grasp. The story of Saint Thomas Aquinas is more than a medieval biography. It is a timeless testament to the pursuit of truth. From the boy who asked, "Who is God?" to the master who revolutionized theological thought, his journey shows us that true wisdom begins with humility. Thomas taught us that reason and faith are not adversaries but allies in the search for truth. His life demonstrates that even the greatest intellectuals can bow before the divine mystery. And perhaps this is his deepest lesson. The more we know, the more we realize how much there is yet to discover. If you found this inspiring, consider becoming a channel member. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to content about other great saints and thinkers of the Church, as well as prayers and special reflections based on their teachings. Join us on this journey of faith and knowledge. Don't forget to like, share, and activate the notification bell to stay updated on our upcoming inspiring stories. May God bless you.